then here you write the subject, which is the English. Word. Have you seen? I want you to draw the new word ball.
This is a nursery, a typical Ugandan nursery. The age ranges are from about 3 years old to 5 years old. So in there, they'll be learning their ABCs, their numbers, and then as they progress, starting to learn words.
Can we write number 4 in the air? Everybody, number 4 in the air.
Developing education in Uganda is the motto that the Bujagali Trust works under. So in 2003, the first trustees came over to Uganda and identified this project as the first project for the Bujagali Trust. It seemed to tick all of the right boxes and really cemented the Bujagali Trust in Uganda. So what our role is to really make sure that the teaching staff are given all of our support in terms of what they're actually achieving and what we can provide for them. We can't go in there and occupy the classrooms ourselves, but what we can do is offer the teachers our support in terms of learning aids and equipment and the buildings itself. When we look at a project, we're not interested in, is it the poorest school around? Is it the worst off? It's, if we put a building in there, is it going to be received well by the staff, the head teacher, the community? You need to make sure that the project itself is being run by people who want and need the help themselves.
My father passed away in an accident. I live with my mom. I started studying in Uganda, Bujagali High School. Afterwards, completing, I went to Nakanyi Girls. After that, Mommy had no money and she brought me here.
So behind me is Mutai Secondary School, and to date it is the biggest project the Bujagali Trust has ever undertaken. A year ago, you would have seen a completely different building behind me. Before, there was no facilities whatsoever. The building itself was falling down and there was hardly any students here. So what we've done is we've put in a brand new classroom block, a water tank, a kitchen, a science laboratory and an examination centre, which sort of doubles as a great hall.
This education has changed their lives. Many of them now are focusing on the future. When I try to talk to a few of them, one would tell you, I would like to become a teacher, an engineer, a doctor. So education has given hope to the students in this area now.
At home, I assist my parents with the domestic work, like going to the garden and dig so that we get some money to pay the school. Okay, she doesn't like to burden me. She wants me to concentrate on studies mostly. I prefer science subjects because in the future, I like to be a doctor.
So the region was not called Uganda.
When the charity was originally set up, it was very much with the view to help education. So, our primary concern was secondary schools, primary schools and nurseries. Then, we kind of saw a bigger picture to that. You can't send a child to school who's malnourished, who has no water, no food for the day. I mean, it's the same in anywhere in the world. So we realized, there's a more grassroots base level we have to start at. So we decided to look into branching into some orphanages.
2, 3. My name is Damali Mirembe Watia. I grew up at an orphanage place after my parents passed away from HIV and AIDS. So as I was growing up as a little girl, I said I want to be a missionary. I want to help other kids as well. So Catherine and Junior, they are some of the first children that I admitted to the baby home. So they lost their mom and dad while they are still in the village. So when I went to their place, I was moved to tears. They were living by themselves in this hut. They were being eaten by the rats and jiggers, all alone. And I think Catherine is now 7 years old. And they were like, she was also a child herself.
It was the first project I actually visited on my very first visit to Uganda. Ultimately, it was a house. That's the look to it, but it was this baby orphanage. It didn't really have much to it. It was just walls and beds, and that's kind of it. We knew we could come in and we could put the toys in, we could make it look that bit brighter, we could do all of those things. We can't employ the aunties, we can't employ the people that work there, we can't change the relationship the babies have with the mothers here who work here. But what we can do is we can put all these facilities in. That's the easy bit from our side. You know, the hard bit had already been done.
I get maybe like 4 or 5 calls a week for children, and if they are phone calls, it's a little bit easier, but if someone comes with a baby, a dying baby to the doorstep, that is really hard. And seeing them walk away, and yet I have to make sure that the ones I have are cared for. There is a support system, but it is overwhelming. Like, for example, if you lived in a village, probably you've lost maybe most of your sisters probably to HIV/AIDS, and you have like these 10 orphans, they are living in your hut, and then another brother of yours dies, and even if he lives next door, like you have no income or not enough food to be able to support all these orphans all on your own, or even along with other people. So that the problem is like sometimes it's just everybody has some children that they are helping. Right now, Catherine is one of the brightest young ladies that I know. She's like doing so well in school. She's one of the top students in her class. She's now in P2, and Junior is also in school, and all that because thanks to Bujagali Trust.
Most of the projects the Bujagali Trust started with have been in the Ginger main area, which is quite urbanised. And now we're starting to branch out into these really rural areas where you can really see the need.
You repeat.
This is Bujagali Primary School. It's in a very rural village.
This school means a lot. The community living here, somebody came up within and said, wanted to establish a school here. So they offered land to the community so that the community can establish this school. Once we put proper structures in place, okay, and the environment is good, it's going to make a very big impact on the learners. They'll be able to learn, and the teachers will be able to teach properly in a very good environment.
The beauty about the area we're in is that there is so many children that need education that it's the perfect location for us to build at a school. If we're able to build a classroom block that can hold 500 children, 500 children will be here. If we're able to build a classroom block for 1,000 children, there will be 1,000 children here. 5 years down the line, I think we're going to be in a position where we're looking at new, bigger, better classrooms, water tank. Education has to coincide with health. These are children that mean a hell of a lot to all of us. These are people whose lives we have a real chance to change, to give them an actual opportunity at life, which without places like these to begin with, God knows where they would be.
Oba osaba ki? Bw'oba ng'osaba ki? Gamba Kanko Richard kiki ky'osabanga? Mutunuulire. She prays to God to give her life.